Good morning, everybody. It's me. It's your old buddy, Steve Simonson, and we are on the awesomers.com podcast series. In fact, we're in the Founder Foundations mini-series. And I realize it may not be morning for you, but I wish you a good day nonetheless. Now, we have been going through some of the things that I think are important, not just for founders, but also for the leadership team that are working with founders, so that we can all get on the same page, right? Having a founder seeing the clear vision and understanding their why and so on and so forth is only valuable to the extent that it gives you personal clarity. Its power really becomes magnified when the leadership team becomes a part of that process. And so bringing up good leaders really is one of the most important things that a good company CEO will do, right? That's part of your objective as a leader, is to develop talent. In fact, I often use that terminology, is that, I'm often a talent scout, and my job is to develop talent and bring them up through the ranks, managers, and, on into the, executive ranks ultimately. Now, today's segment in Founder Foundations is really to reinforce the importance of having a company origin story. Now, I've recorded longer episodes, both recent and far in the past, about why having a company origin story is important, and the fact that every company has an origin story. I will reflect on some of those lessons that I've shared and some of the experiences, but the important part for you to listen to today is that, and if you take nothing away, take these points away. Number one, every company has a company story. Number two, you may not think your company story is very sexy, and therefore you downplay it. And you're like, the company was founded because I needed money, Steve. That does not sound very sexy. But even that story is just the surface level, right? I would next answer, why did you need money? Well, I got laid off by big tech. And you go, okay, well, you're starting, with a situation where, you got laid off. That sucks. And you had to come up with a way to make ends meet. And, again, if it's you, sometimes it's like, well, this is still doesn't feel like a hero's journey to me. And I continue to challenge you to say, yes, then what happened next? And you might say, well, gosh, then I, decided I was going to sell stuff in e-commerce. And so I went and launched a Shopify store and I failed. And you go, oh, well, that sucks. Why'd you fail? Well, because I watched some video. It said launch a Shopify dropship store. And after wasting a bunch of money and, several months of time, it really went nowhere. And I go, okay, that's a really important part of the story, right? I tried and I failed. And the fact that we're having a conversation about your founding story means you've found some traction. What happened next? Right. And then they go, well, after that fail, I really didn't know what to do, but, got to feed the family and so forth. And so, I found this course, or I went and I found this opportunity to, sell this brand, wholesale or a private label or whatever your case is. And it turned into, this small success, and then this next success, and on and on and on. The truth is, once you synthesize any story down, it really has a compelling meaning. And I'd remind everybody, we again have released a free, how do you find your company origin story process, because we think it's that important. And so if you go to either empowery.com or catalyst88.com and you request help from the service folks, so service@catalyst88.com, you could email and they may be able to send you a copy of that free process. My whole point, everybody, is that finding your company origin story is not something that you can just switch off, or not something you can devalue. It is really, really important. We in the past Founder Foundation series, we've talked about you finding your personal why. We've talked about your strategic objective, but the company origin story is much more ethereal than those other things. And maybe my vocabulary could be better selected here. But what I'm trying to say is, instead of your strategic objective, which is kind of linear and it's very objective oriented with metrics, and we'll do this much in this time by these strategies being deployed. The company origin story is much softer, and it's in some ways much more friendly for you to rally your team around, to rally your suppliers around, and to rally ultimately your customers around. And you can go listen to some of the other finding your or company origin story episodes that I've put out there, and get further into the depth of the how and find this process and so on. But I just cannot stress to you the importance of saying to yourself, you know what? I need a company origin story. I want you guys to make that resolution right now. Like, go right now and write down that you need a company origin story and that you're committed to finding it. Come hell or high water, you're going to find it. Because that story gives you so much more gusto when it comes to, sharing with your customers why they should continue to do business with you, right? Sharing that company story and reflecting back on it often through your marketing, your emails, your newsletters, whatever touch points you may have. I've seen many companies, you go to the restaurant and you see they on the back of the menu, they write their origin story. I've seen other companies that include in their packaging. If it's not an insert, it's literally on the package, kind of a short version of the company origin story. All of this is to find some point of connection that people can kind of invest themselves into, not just financially by buying your product, but almost emotionally. Like, gosh, I'm glad to be a part of this thing. I didn't realize that it had such a, warm and uplifting story. And I can just tell you again, I'm preempting your deflection and your defensiveness, saying that your story is not interesting. Every story is interesting. It has to be told in a way that is interesting, right? If you can't find those, let's say, elements of passion and the interesting things that the external world may find, then let's go find you some help. I've got a couple resources over at empowery.com that can help you find your company story. There's lots of resources there that can help you. And so you can go check those out and just go to the partner directory and look for some of the great writers and the brand stories. Zara is really good. Emma's really good. Kristen's really good. There's a lot of resources there that can help you. So I'm saying to you guys very forcefully, make the commitment to find your company story. Come hell or high water, figure it out. Go through the process yourself. If you can't do it yourself, fair enough. Kick it off to a third party. That company story will gel at some point. And now your customers will go, wow, I'm excited to be a part of this. Your team members, whether you're recruiting or retaining, the team members now are a part of the story, right? And it's a story in the making. Where it began is fine, but now the next chapter is being written by those people in the story. They're not just reading some book randomly. They're a part of the story. And the same thing goes with your suppliers. When you're negotiating for payment terms, or you're negotiating for a lower price, or you're negotiating for some other, give on the part of the supplier, if they can connect how they fit in with your company story and they know your strategic objective, now you're getting kind of a flywheel effect of everything kind of working together. And this is where the power of running a company and having a really thoughtful approach to systems and process and people, and then how you articulate all that, that's where the flywheel effect kicks in. At least that's where it's kicked in for me. So Founder Foundations continues, everybody. Please go share it, like it, do all the things that social media loves to do. I don't even know all those things, to be honest with you. So I'm going to count on you to help me amplify this message. Let's get it out there. Let's help some people. It's free after all, so feel free to ignore it, as I enjoy saying. Thank you, one and all, for your attention, and I hope that these are meaningful. And if they are, gosh, send us a note. Let us know. Nothing means more to me than seeing somebody have some value in something that we're sharing. So thanks again, everybody. See you next.